Interesting. Info scripted. Let me see. Oopsie. I know what's happening too. I need to be looping up here because we're gonna be. Before we go live, Victoria, can you tell me how you say your last name real quick?
Chobo.
Chobo. Okay, perfect. I'm
Yes.
so glad I asked, and I'm on late, but I'm glad that I asked. So thank you for that. All right, so we're about to go live. We got 1 minute left, so I'm about to go back to the loop that's happening, and then we're good. So I'll be seeing y'all. Make sure y'all tell people to go to Unscripted. Feel free to have it up if you want, but have it on mute. But I'm going back to the loop now because we're about to start.
Okay. Should I mute myself?
Yeah, and I think it might do it for you, but yeah. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Unscripted TV. I'm super excited to see all of you guys here on this amazing platform. You know, I'm gonna boast about it because this is the baby. This is something that we've worked on for so long. We just recently launched October 10th, 2020. And tonight, this is a new episode of something called Monday Minis, which is where we're able to bring together shorts by amazing content creators that we call redefiners, and allow you guys to kind of converse with them after the show and to be able to learn more about their brain and how it worked in order to create such amazing films. And we're really excited about tonight because we have two amazing, strong Black women. One of them is Latrice, and the other one is Victoria, and they are both amazing, and they both did these really thought-provoking think pieces about social injustice. And these are creative pieces that I'm really excited for you all to see. But let me see. I have some other stuff that I definitely want to make sure that I touch on, like the fact that today is this winter solstice. I've been talking about it forever, like all day. And I'm really excited about it because I think that I definitely just tapped into some cool superpowers. And I'm hoping to find out what your superpowers are as well. But while I'm waiting for everybody to come on in, because, I'm not seeing nobody in the chat yet, what I would like for you all to do is to type in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Tell us what's going on. Like, just start talking in the chat. Let me see. We are live. Sorry, talking to my team while I get this stuff all together. But definitely want you all. There we go. Dante, welcome. Ariana, welcome. Glad to see you all coming in and coming into the unscripted TV space. We're really glad to have you all, and please tell your friends, bring them on in. We're really excited to have you. But, like to get this started, I just want to run it back and let you know who I am, what Unscripted is, and what tonight is all about. So we here in the DMV in the building. All right, DMV, I'm right here in DC too. So I am Falashade Ogunmokin. I am the creator of Unscripted TV. So this is a really amazing platform. I'm really glad to have you all here today, and to be able to communicate and talk to one another in the chat. Please feel free to leave some questions for myself and for the films that you're about to see. Now, another thing that I definitely want to touch on is Unscripted is about redefining the narrative surrounding the Black experience. And that means that we have so many different experiences that are all over the world, and it's important for us to bring those all together. So with that, we think that it's really important to talk to various types of people to share these different narratives. And with that, we think that it's also important to touch on the fact that the winter solstice is here today, and we're all getting different superpowers. So if you know what your superpower is, please drop it in the chat so that we know what's going on and so that we can hype you up and make sure that we are working together. But drop your superpower in the chat. Get ready for a really dope show tonight. It's really important that you guys use the chat, that you guys share this with your friends, that you bring people in, because this is new. We just launched October 10th, 2020, and we're really trying to get this baby off the ground. So let us know how we're doing. I'm very vocal. I'll be able to see what's happening in the chat, and I want to be able to make sure that I'm talking with you all. But now that I've gotten all of that out the way, I also want you to understand that on that sidebar panel where you see the chat, there are two other dots. The second dot is something that will actually show you more about what today is, which is the Mini Mondays live premiere. It shows you information about both Victoria and Latrice. You can click on that to learn more about them and how they did this. We think that it's important for you to be able to interact with the content creators of these amazing films so that you can kind of keep the communication going and keep the vibe rolling. Then also what I think is really important is the fact that this platform is not just this. Like, we go live, but we also program a lot of other shows and content all the time. So before we really get into what's happening on Unscripted tonight in the Monday Minis, I want to also touch base on a few other shows that will be coming to Unscripted. So earlier we went live on Instagram and we were able to tell people about what's coming on tonight. And there's another show that will be debuting tonight that's called Seriously. And I'm going to say it like him. Seriously. It's a really cool show about a transplant from the 80s who comes into 2020 and he's trying to figure out life, and so many things are happening, and we think that it's a really cool show. So that's coming on at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're going to play the trailer for that in just a moment. Another show that we think is really dope that you all would love is The Realish, which is going to be debuting on Unscripted on Christmas Day. That airs every day now at 6 p.m., but their new season, season 4, will be starting on Christmas Day. So make sure that you tune into that. We'll be airing their trailer for that as well. And then we're just going to show you some more content that's coming back from Unscripted. So check that out. And when I come back, I'm going to get right into these 2 amazing films that you guys have to check out and that you guys are here for in the first place. So let's get it started. I appreciate you guys for coming on in. Up first is an amazing content reel created by another Falashade who's on my team. And then from there, we're just going to get into the other trailers that are going to be airing later on this week and tonight. And then we're coming back and we're going to get this show on the road. So thank you guys. Hold tight and invite your friends. See you soon.
Choices, chances, and consequences. The decisions that you make or don't make, they're going to affect you.
What controls you, courage or fear?
I believe I know what I can get this.
Was 1980, when Sirius Lee, a quantum physicist, martial arts expert, and electro-funk rapper, was experimenting late night in his laboratory and accidentally opened a time portal. He was sucked in and transported to Oakland, California in the year 2020.
So tell me about yourself, Mr. Lee.
It's Serious Lee. I'm searching for temporary housing until I can restore the hole I made in the space-time continuum. I'll bury the time capsule for myself with my time dilator. It's a key tool required to spur quantum teleportation and get me back to my time. It should be right about here.
It's the new weed dispensary.
You mean my time dilator is buried in a drug house for reapers?
What can I help you with today?
Dad? Junior?
You left me 40 years ago. I'm telling you, my dad was a time traveler. You know what they called me? Marty McFly.
I don't get it.
It's funny.
This point forward, things are gonna be different. Starting right now. Hit it!
Father and son.
time outlaws on the run.
You're gonna have to get a job at the dispensary, Dad.
You look like a love child between Mr. T and Richard Simmons.
Remember, you're gonna have to act normal.
I'm a black man in my 30s from the year 1980s. I'm in the prime of my life, just like O.J. Simpson. You wouldn't tell him not to be a lady killer, now would you? Whoa, what?
Seriously. More like predictably.
Good one, Gloria.
We're in a predestination paradise.
Exactly.
In a what?
You know, basically the plot of Terminator, Back to the Future, and every other time travel science fiction movie.
No time to waste, gang. Follow me.
This is Seriously, the problematic time transplant.
Welcome to The Realest TV. It's your favorite host, Bonker Love, and as you can see, I have two new beautiful hosts on set with me today. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves.
I'm your girl, Maya Rajay. And I'm Mika the Badass Unicorn, and we're here to make season 4 fire.
It's an excellent carb.
No
Add a little bit of heavy whipping cream, little Asiago cheese, little Parmesan cheese. I'm giving y'all a free gem right now.
You better get me hungry.
I like to fully load those things with different proteins, and it's actually on my Thanksgiving menu.
Okay.
So butter poached lobster, mashed potatoes. So I take some.
Teach me something new. I love the way when you give it to me. Don't you get nervous?
I can't sing, but you know. No, I'm excited that you guys got to see some of the shows that are coming to Unscripted, from Seriously, which will be airing tonight at 11 p.m., to The Realish, which is like our new 106 in Park, but grown and sexy like. We're really excited to have these shows coming on to Unscripted. But tonight, the reason why you are here is because you want to see these amazing social films from Victoria and from Latrice. So basically, we have some really dope content that's coming on tonight. These are the first two people who are going to be a part of our Monday Minis, and we're really excited to have them on board. Without further ado, I want to make sure that I introduce them to you properly. But first, I have to be real about what 2020 has been, because 2020 has been a year of ups and downs. From the lockdowns that sent everyone to paranoia, to the stylish masks, to the heightened racial unjust, we've still found ways to be even more creative, amazing, and black. I mean, that's part of what I keep talking about with this winter solstice, with these superpowers, with these things, is that no matter what is given to us, no matter what is supposed to be pressure on us, we always come out and make really amazing diamonds. And that's really what our two creatives did tonight. So our creatives that we are highlighting tonight are no different. They created two amazing shorts, and they'll be discussing them afterwards. So I want you to watch them. I want you to take some notes. I want you to leave some comments in the sidebar panel and really interact with what's going on, because when they come on, I really want you guys to kind of talk to them, ask them questions, learn about their insight and why they created what they created. So we're excited for all of that. And the first up, we have This Is Why by Victoria Chalbo. And I think I said it right. She corrected me earlier, and I learned how to say it. I should have wrote it down, but we're going to get her to correct it when she comes back on. But basically, she just relocated to the United States in 2019 from Paris, France. So she has a really amazing accent, and you'll be able to hear that later. But her dream was always to work in the film industry, and she took her talents to Los Angeles, you know where to go, where she started her journey as a screenwriter. And this was just in 2019. So during the quarantine, she was able to create and produce her short film without a budget. Just her camera, and her friends. And this is how she made her first step as a filmmaker. So by relying on real life issues such as racial injustice, mental health, relationships, and faith, she was able to create this emotional piece. And before I move on, I have to emphasize the superpowers that we all have. She created this out of her own will, and it's airing tonight on Unscripted because we feel that it's powerful and that it's thought-provoking, and she just started her career. And one of the things that I think is really dope about that is that we are providing a space for people who are creating, who care about what they want, and who deserve more money, more time, and more visibility in order to create even more. So we're really happy to be a part of her journey, but we're even more happy to show it to you guys. So without further ado, I want you guys to enjoy this micro short by Victoria that is called This Is Why.
Newly released video shows the aftermath of the police killing of Breonna Taylor in Louisville nearly 4 months ago. Officers conducting a drug raid burst into Taylor's home and shot her 8 times. National correspondent Jerika Duncan has a video showing the tension between police and Taylor's boyfriend.
It's funny.
Woo. Okay. Hopefully you guys were able to experience that. One of the things that I definitely want to touch on before I move on to the next piece is that this year I took a big step and finally got a therapist, because I do think that sometimes you have to talk to other people, and that there is this thing in our community where we feel like we don't need to have therapists, or if you have a therapist that you're crazy, or like there's so many different reasons why I knew back in the day that I didn't want to get a therapist, but I'm glad that I got one. And I do think that this piece really shows that we're going through so much, like we're really experiencing a PTSD, and sometimes we need to talk to people. So if you feel a certain type of way tonight, I suggest that you definitely reach out and find a therapist. Make sure that it's somebody that you will feel comfortable with. Like, do your research to find someone really great, but I do think that it is helpful. So thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria. We can't wait to talk to you in just a moment. But we definitely want to make sure that we show our next film, which is by Latrice. Now, let me, of course, give you some breakdown on who Latrice is. So Latrice is an artist from Washington, D.C. Hey, I'm in the DMV as well. Or actually, I'm in D.C., which was formerly known as Chocolate City. We're about to make it chocolate again. She has a diverse professional and academic background with an MFA in creative writing, specializing in writing for television and film, having an MA or a master's in public relations, and having a MED in educational leadership. She is smart. Look, all these degrees, you better. Like, come on, sis. I'm excited for you. But no, like, I'm excited that you're able to create all of this and use all that brain power for that. She's a change agent in her community and uses her combined expertise by facilitating educational workshops to awaken the mind, the body, and the soul of adolescent youth by incorporating the performing arts under Honor You Performing Arts Academy, Inc., a nonprofit that she founded. Yes, congratulations, and it's always great to work with the youth. When Latrice Amanda is not working with youth, she writes and produces, bringing content to life under her production company, A Latrice Production. Latrice's ultimate goal is to create characters that trigger one to find humor in unusual circumstances, or characters that will emotionally pull on audiences' hearts. Latrice's philosophy is life is equivalent to a 3-act. And we are excited to present one of her many acts. So please watch Run, which is coming on right now.
God, please send my guardian angels to protect me.
No criminal charges.
Troubling conduct. Unarmed deadly shooting 20 times
Yet another
and killed him.
officer-involved shooting of an unarmed African-American man is caught on video.
But still, no charges have been filed. The man who pulled the trigger will not face charges.
We are at war. Only a few of us was chosen to answer the call. The call to leave our lives behind as we know it, to become an enemy. Be labeled a criminal. I am outlawed. My name is Alec, the defender of mankind.
You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You
These
have
are
no
the
job.
most dishonest human beings.
What the hell do you have to lose?
Los ancestros están contigo.
$10,643 days is the number of days that I have lived on this earth. An earth plagued with the intoxication of brew that lies in the devil's stomach. I wonder if I would live another 10,000 more. If I gotta die, let me die an enemy of the state and not be gunned down in the street by a racist savage leaving the world to chant, no justice, no peace. This is not the first time I've seen turmoil. My soul has traveled the earth once before, watching the one I love hang high from an oak tree because his failed quest for freedom. Still, I cry. Witnessing brothers and sisters rob, steal, and kill one another as if they are drinking a Coke and topping it off with a smile. Striking God's promises, leaving them bleeding out on the ground.
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
What a terrible question to ask. So are white people.
What do you want?
I can breathe.
It took just seconds for a routine traffic stop to turn deadly.
Stand back and stand by.
Traffic stop that turned deadly.
Officer on administrative leave
Was found not guilty.
Mama!
I am the predecessor of my foremother's dream. The messages of hope vigorously flows through my veins. I am the DNA of my ancestors. I am the embodiment of my forefathers' might. I am ready to conquer war. Oh, the thinning of the veil is near. I can feel the warmth of my spirit guides protecting me. And finally, I'm here.
You made it, my child. You're now home.
In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or repetition of the events that have taken place here recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough. And it is because of our effort toward getting straight to the root that people oftentimes think we're dealing in hate. We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy. The white man is intelligent enough. If he were made to realize how black people really feel and how fed up we are without that old compromise and sweet talk. Stop sweet talking him. Tell him how you feel. Tell him what kind of hell you've been catching, and let him know that if he's not ready to clean his house up, if he's not ready to clean his house up, he shouldn't have a house. It should catch on fire and burn down.
We answer the call, and we are ready for war.
All right. Well, this is why we run. Is a perfect sentence to bring on both of these amazing content creators. So now that you've seen both of their films and now that you've kind of been able to understand where they're coming from, we want to be able to bring them up on the stage or on the screen to really be able to touch base with one another, because they do have a lot of similarities, but they have a lot of differences as well. And for us to really have this conversation about their films, about their minis, but even more so about the storylines behind both of them, because they are very similar with how they were inspired, and how they transpired is very different. So I'm excited to bring on both of our amazing guests. So please welcome both Victoria and Latrice. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Just beautiful. All of us with our bright red lips. I love it. Black girl magic all up in here. So I'm really excited to have you both on. And I just want to thank you both for being on here, for sharing your stories, for redefining your narrative. But I think it's easy for me to just talk so much. But I really was curious to find out if you two had any thoughts first off about each other's films. So like I'm gonna just open up the floor and let you guys kind of discuss what you felt from the other person's film, and feel free to go first.
Okay, I'll go. Hey, Victoria, you know what I really appreciated about your film is like it capturing the raw emotion. Um, you know, like I said before, like post-traumatic stress disorder, I think we've all been indirectly touched by. So actually seeing your character go through the emotion of one, indirectly experiencing what Breonna Taylor gone through just from like, watching, social media, and then, your character's own personal experience with law enforcement, and then seeing her, to catering to her mental health. So that totally resonated with me, which is like one of the reasons what inspired me to do my own film. So good job.
No,
It was
really,
short, but it was perfect. I loved everything about it.
thank you so much. I really love Run. Very emotional. I was like, oh, and yeah, it's very emotional, and there's a lot going on. I was like trying to catch every detail. I think there's some stuff that you can explain, but I really loved it. Like the
Thank
acting,
you.
the way the image were captured, every single detail that you picked were like, oh wow, this is powerful. And I was watching it, I was like, oh, I want more of that. But yeah, it was a little bit too short, but I really love it. I really loved it. So I think the emotion of the main character, like I really felt it in the way that I experienced after the death of George Floyd. I had this pain, I have all this feeling inside of me, and I think like I can relate to the main character in your short film.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how I don't know how you did that, but all the emotion that we can see while we
Right.
watch the run. So
Right. Well, the main character is played by Ani Day. She's an amazing artist. She actually calls herself like she's like, I'm not just an actress, I'm not just a singer, but I'm a social impact artist. So like she really like connected to the character immediately when I called her and told her about it. And I can only see her playing Alec. Like she's just an amazing performer, and she totally just embodied and brought those emotions to you know,
I loved her, especially as the main character, because she was able to touch on a lot of different emotions while she was doing that. You know, feeling out of breath, but feeling inspired, and then still feeling strong and standing up with the ancestors about the, answering the call. Like she went through various different emotions that we all go through on a regular basis, especially this year where so many things were heightened. And I thought that was really strong. I kind of found it a parallel. I found it very interesting to be able to see her to go through all of that, like calling on the ancestors and asking for help to be guided into or to run into what she felt like she needed to do. And then comparing that to with what Victoria did, where it was like, you know, like this stuff is really affecting me. I need to go to therapy, or I need to talk to somebody about this. So I was kind of curious to understand from both of you, like the difference between calling on ancestors for help and calling on a therapist for help. Like, what are the difference, but what are the similarities within those? Because I do think that there are some similarities when you do both of those options, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think. And if you do both.
I guess I can go first. Okay, so for Run, and just not even just with Run in general, I do believe that we are all divinely protected. And, you know, we have God, we have our spirit guides, we have our ancestors, and, you know, when in need, they're there. And more so, not only just calling on them for help, but realizing that, you know, we are like the embodiment of our ancestors. Like, you know, generations, like we as like a race have gone through some mess, you know. Like, so it's like, you know, we need this strength to kind of push forward because here we are in 2020, and it may not be what our ancestors experienced, but we're still, you know, we're making history. So, you know, years later, people are going to be reading about what's happening in 2020. So it's like, you know, like calling on that strength and hope and just being encouraged, but also knowing that ultimately we have the power to save ourselves. And, you know, it's up to us to make a choice to figure out how to go about doing that. Are we going to come together? Are we going to finally, honestly, truly come together, you know, as a community, just as a people, as a human race, and like strategize? Are we going to organize? Like, you know, what are we going to do to answer the call? And I'm a huge advocate also for mental health. I mean, I know that everyone, especially if you're a person of color, you know, you need a therapist. You know, it's so much stuff going on. Like, it helps to have someone who you can talk to and just unload and get support. So, and that's what I loved about Victoria's film.
Yeah, the thing that we have in common about the movie and Run, and this is why it's the fact that the main character reached for help. And I really do think it's something important, whether it's in spiritual beliefs or maybe to reach out to a friend or therapist or someone, I don't know, a relative. It's the fact that we need each one another. We can go through life by ourselves with our own strength. It's like it's impossible. It's not life if we live by ourselves. So I think this is what our movies are talking about. Like, we need at some point when we have no strength, when we can deal with it, some emotion or some things happening in our life, we need to get some help, and it's okay to ask for help. Whether it's some people go like to spiritual things or to friends or wherever it is, I want to encourage anybody watching both of the movies to reach for help, and it's okay to like we need some extra help. So yeah, that's
No, absolutely. And I agree with both that they both did reach out for help and that they both were able to receive that help and to move forward and try and figure out what they should do. So with that though, I do want to talk with you, Latrice, because I have a specific question, which is about Run.
Sure.
So in Run, she's obviously running somewhere, and on her journey, she's able to be time watched by somebody that's I don't know. She's coming from like a portal. I don't know if she's from the future, from the past, but she's able to run on this journey where she's introduced to a whole bunch of different people that are obviously from history, from our past, and
Yes.
I'm curious to understand, one, where is she running to? And two, what is the significance of each of the people that she meets on the way? Obviously, we know the symbolisms behind some of the people that she's meeting with the Skittles and with the football and everything like that. But like it's important to kind of hear how you got to that and what their significance is on her journey as she is running.
Okay, so in the beginning, Alec is seen in her ordinary world. So it's like the dysfunction of, living in her community. So, as she's walking, she sees drug transaction. She sees, the temptation of like sexual desire, lust, like the guy picking up the young woman walking on the street. She bypasses the missing poster of Relisha Rudd. If you're from Washington, D.C., you know that Relisha's been missing for years, and her case is just no answer. It's been unsolved. So we see that, and also the representation of the children that are running and passing by. And then we come to the timekeeper. So the timekeeper is actually on her clock. He's a little boy. That's my son. That's his first son. Not credit, I guess. And the timekeeper represents, like, yes, he does come from another time. And, he kind of fences on the lightness and the darkness in a sense, but he pushes her forward on her new journey to run. So I don't know if you noticed, but she's holding a necklace, which is the Star of David. So in my mindset, when I was creating the script, it was like, she's already accepted to answer the call. Like, she knows her purpose, but she didn't have the sign when to start running. So that was like the objective of the timekeeper coming to push her on her journey to run. So as she's running, she is greeted by a lot of symbolization. Like we see, the little girl who comes, and she is considered the North Star. So the North Star pretty much is like with her on her path as she's running. And immediately the first thing she says, like, God, please send, my angels to protect me. So this is the North Star. And it's pushed through. So depending on where you are in regards to like spirituality or just your beliefs, so many people believe that we have many lifetimes on this earth, and we come from different times. So we see the slave, well, the symbolization of Yeshua, and this is like a love that she once knew. In her monologue, she talks about, like, this isn't her first time that she's experienced and received pain. The one that she loved, she watched him hang high from an oak tree because he had a failed pursuit of freedom. So, we see like, okay, this is like, this was a past love. But as she's still pushing through on her journey, she crosses paths with him. And then we see like the symbolization, of course, Trayvon Martin. So basically, each character represents like, a moment in time. Even with the symbolization of Devon McNeil, which is a little boy who was murdered from Washington, D.C. this summer. So, when she's, speaking of her monologue, she's saying like, basically innocent babies are bleeding out on the ground. We passed that because that's happened, not just in Washington, D.C., but in Chicago. Like, this summer has been a terrible year for like just innocent babies getting shot, getting murdered. So, we're talking about, it's not just like what we're going through with the threat of President Trump and the police brutality, but like within our own community, we ain't no better. We killing each other too. So like, when does it end? Like, when does this type of conflict end? And then we finally get to like the ballerina. The ballerina is, a guardian angel as well. She's dancing alongside her as she's running. And then we get to the actual ancestor who gives her the power, that Reiki energy to keep going. She has that moment of weakness when she's out of breath and she's tired. She's like, you got this, you keep going. So she gives her that healing energy to kind of push forward. And then from there we land to Olu and the two children, like, yes, you finally made it. So she's here, but it's like this next part of her life, like, she answered the call, like she leaves her ordinary world behind to get to her final destination, which is to be a part of this rebellion tribe, to to come together, to organize, to strategize, and of course, they're greeted with the symbolization of Malcolm X, who's like, all right, let's get it going. And what I really loved about that scene is that the women are the ones that he's speaking to, but you have the men who are outside protecting them. So I don't know if that is something that audience will get, because a lot of people were like, well, why don't you have men inside there? Why is there women? Because like, no, we got this. The men's job is to protect the women. The men are outside protecting the women that are inside. So, the women are ready for war. They're like, all right, we together, we're gonna come together, we're gonna organize, and we're here. Yeah.
So would that be the call to action for your film? Not war, but like what
War.
is your call to action?
To take control, you know what I mean? To come together, to unite, and like let's change. Let's more so build our own, not build our own society, but we have to really come together and strengthen what we have so we can go and heal. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree.
We at war, you know what I mean? Like, when you think of like, just the world, like we are in war in every aspect that you think of it. So it's like, all right, we are in war. She actually opens up saying, we're at war. So like, all right, I'm here, but I'm here not just by myself, but other people who chose to answer the call, and we're ready. So, yeah.
All right. Look, I mean, I feel it and I understand, sometimes the audience is gonna say stuff like this is violent, like what are you inciting and stuff like that. But the truth is, like, we are at war, and there are things that are said that are symbolic, and then there are things that are said that are real. And like, this is something that we have to figure out together as a people to really understand what we're supposed to do next. So I definitely appreciate that.
Thank you. And it's interesting because I did hear some feedback like, are you saying let's go, be rebels and like, do this and do this and do like, no, we're not saying we're anti-government or, but we're saying like, hey, we here, we got this. Like, we're ready to stand up and fight for something. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's I commend you for being able to put that in a visual aspect where people can understand it and relate to it from different parts, because there are some people who are going to take it more like let's go, and then there are some people that are going to take it like, okay, so like now what do we do, so it's all relative and it's all art, and I think that is great, and I'm really glad that you were able to share that. And I also am curious to know what your call to action was, Victoria, because I feel like both of them really do have like a call to action, and that they are different, and they're all inspired by something different. So I would love to hear like what inspired you to create This Is Why, and then kind of like what you expect people to take from it.
Yeah, so I was really inspired by after the death of George Floyd, and I couldn't really realize, I think, what I was feeling at that moment. So I kind of shut off everything. I was kind of angry, and at the same time, I was in pain. I couldn't really understand what was feeling inside of me. Most of the time, I'm really a happy person, and every time, but for like at least a month or something after that, I was really like still hungry, still I was like crying for tears during the night after all of this. So I had to shut down social media, shut down all the news feed, because it was crazy at that moment. And then there was a turnover when I kind of turned all this anger, all this pain in a creative way. So I started like writing, and I really wanted to write a story about what was going on and what I was feeling. And my call to action about that was make people face what they're feeling at that moment, because it's okay to be angry. It's okay to it's painful. This video was painful. Everything what was going on at that moment was really painful for everyone, especially the Black community. and I wanted people to face what they were feeling at that moment, and if it was needed to reach for help, because I think it was a really tough year with the COVID, with the quarantine, with everything going on, plus that it was too much for most of us. Is the reason why I kind of exploded in myself. It was not like I didn't do something to myself, but if I was already in a mental health that was really like kind of, I was dealing with a lot of stuff. It could be worse right after that. So I wanted to call people to like, okay, what am I feeling right now with everything going on? Do I need to shut down a little bit social media? Do I need to reach for help, talk to a friend, family, or therapist, or anything? But am I okay with what's going on? Because even if it's not a family or relative, it's kind of touching every like people, everyone. We were all touched by what's going on. So that was, yeah, I was really inspired by the death of George Floyd, and then I wrote the whole story. It was really, I knew it was gonna be a short because I have no budget and it's my second project. So I wanted to make something impactful, something short with like in a short amount of time, and also during the pandemic, so it was not a lot of people for this project, but I decided to make it happen. I gathered 2 or 3 friends in LA, and we filmed that in like few hours, and we wanted to impact the most people we could about that.
And I think that's great. And then one of the things that you actually touched on, which I'm gonna pull a question from the audience, because Dante Parker, who also worked on Run with Latrice, I believe, he had some really great questions, and you touched on them. So one of the questions that he asked was, what challenges did you face during production? Obviously, first and foremost, I know that both of you created these during COVID, which is crazy because the world shut down. People weren't even really trying to come out of their cocoons of their homes. And you guys were not only facing the civil or racial unjust, but you are also facing this thing that you wanted to create. So like what challenges did you guys face while you were creating these projects?
I guess the biggest challenge for us was to make sure that we had a safe set and everyone was protected. So myself, Dante, and the production coordinator or production assistant, we all took a set safety course with how to keep, COVID free, as far as like making sure people were saying 6 feet apart. We were able to schedule actors to come in at a certain time. We didn't have everyone on set at the same time. Constant temperature checks. We just did our best to try to be in compliant with the CDC in regard to filming. That was pretty much our biggest challenge, I believe, just making sure that we were all going to be healthy and everyone else working with us is going to be healthy and finish filming and everyone still remain healthy. So that was the biggest part. We used a location, and we also had to make sure, again, like just everyone was safe, because we didn't want any liabilities. So that was like the biggest challenge for us, just figuring out how to navigate with COVID and, kind of designing our set and our production to kind of fit those requirements, since we had, quite a few people and children also.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you took the proper steps, because I know some people did not take proper steps. So I'm really glad to hear that you did, because it is important to stay safe through this, but to also still be able to create. But Victoria, yes, what were some of the challenges that you faced while you were creating this?
Yeah, I would say COVID was a big challenge. I think I had to reduce and adapt the script about that, because I had all these character, all these ideas when I wrote it, and I was so excited in the creative at that moment when I wrote it. And then I realized, oh wow, yeah, that's COVID. It's not gonna happen. So I had to like reduce everything, and especially because I filmed in LA. So LA this summer was kind of crazy with the lockdown and stuff. So I really wanted my friend to be also really safe, and myself. So I had to like make a lot of change in my script, and I think that was kind of the hardest part for me, because when you're creative, you're like, I have all this idea and you want to make it happen. And I had to like make some changes, but it really worked out pretty well. We filmed pretty fast, and also we were pretty effective, pretty safe. The fact that we reduced the cast, and it was by myself and a friend, so it was kind of, it was safer. And yeah, we made it happen. It was I had to think about a lot about that, but we made it happen. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I'm glad that you did make it happen, because that is exactly why you're here. But now that I'm hearing from both of you, and both of you are fairly new to the film industry, Latrice, this is your second production, and Victoria, this was your very first production. So, like, as a new filmmaker who is just kind of breaking into the scene, but who also was able to break into the scene during 2 pandemics, what advice do you have for new content creators, for someone that's really just trying to break in as well? Like, now that you got your feet wet, like, share the tea, spill the tea, like, let us know.
I would definitely say find your tribe, because I definitely did not do this on my own. Like, I have to shout out Dante Parker for one. Like, Dante, you know, he's a godsend. Like, it's, I've created projects prior to this, but I just feel like now it's like, we're getting like our footing. Like, it's just wonderful to find someone that totally gets what you're trying to do. I get what he's trying to do, and the drive matches. And we're equally yoked, creatively. So which that is beautiful. And I have like Julius Foster from Mazzo Entertainment. He's a great manager. Warren Morris is like an awesome publicist, like Katrina Johnson, Zanetta Johnson. So it's like we have like a huge, huge, huge support system. And that's the most important, like just finding a tribe of people that really believe in you, that you can count on. Because you can't do it all by yourself. I mean, you can try to do it all by yourself, but ultimately it just feels good to have people that you can count on. So that's one advice I would give. And just don't give up. Keep going. Like, just write. If you have a story, write. Don't get hung up on the formatting. Just get your camera and film and go for it. Tell your story. And that's probably the biggest advice I can give. Just don't give up. And even if you don't have your tribe, like, your tribe is there. Like, definitely, if you're on Clubhouse, get on Clubhouse right away, because I've been seeing like a lot of people networking and just connecting off that app alone. And just don't be afraid to reach out and collaborate with people and learn. So
Absolutely. And then what about you, Victoria? What would you say to Victoria 2 years ago? Like what would you say?
Oh wow. A lot of things has happened because I just stepped in. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna show up. And I had all these, I lived a few months in LA, and everyone is like, you gotta connect, you gotta know some people to succeed or to start in the industry and stuff. And I was really like kind of scared and worried because I had no connection. I'm from another country, and also, so I would just say that start with what you have. That helped me a lot because I have like no connection here. I just started with my first short was with my phone and by myself during the pandemic, and I just like started to work on my craft and be creative, write a lot. And yeah, sometimes you can have a tribe, and I really rely on what you said. I really agree on that, because having friends who believed in my in my heart and everything that I had was a really good support. I couldn't have done This Is Why without them. But also I really believed in myself. It helped a lot. And I just stepped. And I was like, there you go. I'm not going to wait for Hollywood producer to contact me or whatever. I'm just going to start. Just step out. And yeah, and I just did it. So I will encourage anyone to just step, just do it, just start somewhere. If you have an iPhone, a camera, whatever it is, just start with what you have. Be creative. You can gather people from everywhere. Now we have social media, we can meet people, we can cast people if needed, with of course the COVID restriction, be safe. But also, yeah, as she say, you can join clubhouse, you can connect with people. So yeah, there's no excuse not to start. Like, I am the girl who's from another country, had no relations stuff. I just started, and yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. And Victoria, I would love to connect with you.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
No,
sure. Oh, we're
you
gonna
know,
do
you're
it.
writing in DC now, so hey.
Right. Right.
I would
When you
love to
come over to
connect.
DC, you can meet both of us. It'll be a
Yeah.
whole little
Oh yeah,
powwow.
both in DC. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I agree. I think that's great. First of all, that y'all made that connection. Yay. But also that you're talking about like a leap of faith and self-validation, because that is exactly what Unscripted is about. You know, it's like we don't need to wait for somebody else to tell us what we can and cannot do. We don't need to wait for somebody else's connections or for this or for that. Like, a lot of the stuff that we have is already in us. Just like we're talking about, I'm going to do it again, these superpowers. I honestly think that they're already dormant inside of our bodies. All that you have to do is tap in. So I'm really glad that you were able to make that leap of faith and to come to America, to be in LA, to create. And you said that you shot this on your cell phone.
Oh, not this one, not this one. Yeah, this.
I was like, wait, now, hold on.
No, I had another short which I filmed with my iPhone. That was the first one, and this one is the second one, and we use the camera. Just
okay. I was about to say, whatever cell phone you use, you need to. They owe you some money.
Oh yeah, no.
Because like somebody, I think it might have been Dante. Somebody was in the comments like the cinematography is great. So when you said cell phone, I was for a second like, oh, we need to tell somebody about this. So that's good. Though. That's good, and it's also good to hear about the progression. You started with the cell phone, and now you're using the camera, and next you'll be using the Red or Aria, whatever you want to use. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited about all of that. Let me see. What other questions do we have from the audience? I saw some good ones earlier. Okay. Well, let's see. What questions do you guys have for each other? Not even beyond the watching each other's documentaries, beyond watching each other's short films. Like, are there any questions that you have for each other? Like, maybe you have a question about the cinematography and how you can implement that. Like, you know, like what questions do you guys have for each other?
Not really a question, but I admire Victoria for, you know, everything that you've done. Like, you know, you not only did you act in it, but you directed it, you filmed it, you created it. I mean, those are a lot of hats to wear, and it's beautiful. And I love like how you said, like, and I feel the same way. We can't wait around for someone to give us an opportunity or give us a shot. It's just like, no, we have to do this ourselves, you know, and believe that, you know, it's going to happen, because it is going to happen. So, you know, I admire that, and I think that's wonderful.
Thank you. I don't know. I want to ask you when did you get started in the movie industry, or maybe why did you start?
So, I started out acting first, and I had a acting coach named Melissa Taylor. She was amazing. Like, so I like had my first play, which was Conversations About Her, like many years ago. And Melissa was like, you know, Latrice, I think you're a really good actress, and I know you're a writer, you know. And this is like years ago, before it wasn't an Issa Rae who was like, we didn't have like Insecure, we didn't have like, you know, Tyler Perry doing things, but she kind of planted a bug like in my heart, and she was like, you know, Latrice, there aren't a lot of women of color, and there just aren't a lot of people of color who are in positions to greenlight their own projects. And I think acting is great, but you know, you really need to think about, like producing and writing. And honestly, that just kind of changed like my whole career path. And I was like, "You're right. I am tired of auditioning for everybody. I'm going to do my own thing." So that was kind of like my motivation behind it. So I started writing, and my first real project was an independent soap opera titled Archives of the Heart. And I still love Archives. We actually released season 2 and like one episode, but we're still working on it in a sense. But that was really like my first project, and that was like over 10 years ago. And it was a learning curve because, with creating and writing, like, I'm able now to go back and see my growth. Um, yeah, I just kept going and writing and developing and expanding and this is like where I'm at now.
So where do you want both of you? What do you want from this project? Like, are you looking to take this project to another level, or are you looking to get into something else after this? Like, what is the next step?
Well, I can speak for Run. So the plan with Run was to be very strategic with getting the message out, right? So we released it online on Super Tuesday. Well, right before Super Tuesday, which was, the presidential election. And the goal was to, of course, like just like, hey, this is what's happening in Black America right now. Let's just get this out there. But bigger than that, I would love to get Run in a curriculum in schools if possible. Um, we have plans to make it an audiobook. That's something we're currently discussing, and possibility turning the script into a coffee book. So, because the messaging is there and we're still currently experiencing so much that's happening, I just feel like, there's ways to give it new life and still get the message out there. So that's just kind of like where we're going with it now. It wasn't like a major deal to like run in the festival circuit because I felt like the messaging was way more important than the festival circuit, but we have submitted in festivals and we've received some awards and some selections, but I'm just happy to get Run in front of as many audiences as possible because that's the main objective of Run.
And how about you, Victoria? Like, were you looking to expand This Is Why, or were you looking to start working on something else?
I was looking working on something else because this is why. I mean, when I produced it, it was really like with it's a really short movie, so it was kind of hard to submit it to any festival because of the length of the short. But also, really at that moment when I created, I just wanted to raise awareness on what was going on, and it's still something that is really accurate for the situation here. But I just wanted to work on my craft because I just started like the filmmaking in 2020 for real. So I just wanted to work on that, and I had a lot of great reviews on that. But I need to work on different project and maybe something that is longer or yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking about what's next now.
Awesome. Well, no, that's great, and I'm glad that you're able to move on to the next thing, and I'm just glad to be able to see it, to see this. I call it a micro short because it was really short, but it was impactful, and people were able to express and feel what was happening in it. And I'm glad that both of you are able to think so big. Like Latrice listed 1, 2, 3, a million different things that she's about to do with Run, and I'm inspired. The coffee book, the everything, and then of course making it educational, which I think is really important as well. So I find that beautiful that both of you guys are doing that. I also find it amazing that both of you guys brought your films to Unscripted, and I really want to emphasize the fact that this is Black Girl Magic reimagined because we are the thought provokers. We create, we do so much, and I just think that it's great to be able to share this stage with both of you. You guys are amazing. I'm going to wrap it up soon, but the very last thing that I want to make sure that I do is I let you guys share more with the audience about where they can find you, how they can reach you, and what other stuff that you do have that's coming up. So feel free, take it away, and let us all know how to find you.
Okay, I'll go. So you can find me on Instagram at Latrice Amanda _MFA. You can also find me on my website, which is www.latriceamanda.com. And what was the other question?
Oh, what you have coming up? If you have
Um,
anything coming up.
well, I mean, right now I've been doing a lot of writing. I'm actually writing a pilot right now, so I'm just trying to perfect the pilot. So I Married My Best Friend, which is the film that we did, that was in the festival circuit this summer. We're going to turn that into a full feature. So I'm just going to be writing, and Dante and I are going to be we're going to be shooting another short film, and the goal is to put that into the 2021 film festival circuit. So I guess I'm pretty busy starting in January.
Yeah, yeah, like you are busy. You were busy during the pandemic.
Yes, yes.
And then how about you, Victoria? Like how can people find you? What do you have coming up? Just let us all know how to keep in touch.
Yeah, you can find me on my Instagram page, Vicky Rose Faith. There's every link in the bio for my short film on YouTube and the website too. Everything is on my Instagram. So Vicky Rose Faith. And yeah, for now I'm still writing. I'm writing for a short film and also another movie. So I'm still working on that, and I'm trying to make this happen in for the next short film in February. And let's see what's going on with the COVID. But yes, this is my next project soon. So yeah.
Awesome. I'm excited for that, and I'm glad, and I hope everybody took notes and was able to write down how to connect with everyone. Of course, when their faces were up on the full screen, you can also see their tags for their Instagram handles. But like I really want to thank you both again for being on here with our red lips and our brown skin, doing this amazing work. Like it was a pleasure to have you guys as the first people on Mini Mondays, and for it to be such impactful visuals that we're able to share. And I'm excited to continue to be able to share it. So I really want to thank you guys more than enough. So thank you for real.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Of course. And then I'm just going to come up here to say that I want to thank all of you guys in the audience who were able to chime in, to leave comments, to ask questions, to talk about how we have all this amazing Black girl magic that's present here in Unscripted as redefiners, redefining our narratives. You were able to hear more about Run and Washington, D.C. native who was really able to touch on some of the things that were happening here locally in D.C., but also broadly around the world. And to be able to learn more about how ancestors are able to help us, and just to get her unique vision on what she thinks is next and how we can do more. And the same thing goes with Victoria, who was able to touch base on how we need to have faith and how we need to be able to talk to people and how we need to get through this PTSD and this trauma of what's happening here in America. And she's not even from here, but she was able to come over here and really feel the pain that we're enduring every day. And I think that is so important that people are able to express themselves through their art and through these types of mediums. So I want to appreciate all of you guys that were able to come into the audience today and to witness this, because you are of the first of many that will be here with Unscripted. Please tell your friends about it. Share it with your family. Like, this is the new streaming network to redefine the narrative surrounding the Black community. This is a way for us to come together and to really do big stuff. We really appreciate you guys for coming. We do have another show that will be coming on tonight at 11, so please stay tuned. Right after this show, we're actually going to have Rhonda Mitchell, MD, which is another web series that is about a Black doctor, and we find it really important to be able to share these types of narratives and for you to kind of get engaged with the types of shows that are going to be on Unscripted. So we invite you all to stay, watch Rhonda Mitchell, MD, and stay on even later at 11 to catch up with the episode of Seriously. And with that, I'm actually going to end it by showing you guys another 2-minute trailer of Seriously and how it's coming on tonight. And then after that, we will see you later. So thank you all and have a great night. And play.
year was 1980, when Sirius Lee, a quantum physicist, martial arts expert, and electro-funk rapper, was experimenting late night in his laboratory and accidentally opened a time portal. He was sucked in and transported to Oakland, California in the year 2020.
So tell me about yourself, Mr. Lee.
It's Sirius Lee. I'm searching for temporary housing until I can restore the hole I made in the space-time continuum. I'll bury the time capsule for myself with my time dilator. It's a key tool required to spur quantum teleportation and get me back to my time. It should be right about here.
It's the new weed dispensary.
You mean my time dilator is buried in a drug house for reefers?
What can I help you with today?
Dad? Junior?
You left me 40 years ago. I didn't tell everyone my dad was a time traveler. You know what they called me? Marty McFly.
I don't get it.
It's funny.
This point forward, things are gonna be different. Starting right now. Hit it! Father and son. Time outlaws on the run.
You're gonna have to get a job at the dispensary, Dad.
You look like a love child between Mr. T and Richard Simmons.
Remember, you're gonna have to act normal.
I'm a black man in my 30s from the year 1980s. I'm in the prime of my life, just like O.J. Simpson. You wouldn't tell him not to be a lady killer, now would you? Whoa, what?
Seriously. More like, predictably.
Good one, Gloria.
We're in a predestination paradise.
Exactly.
In a what?
You know, basically the plot of the Terminator, Back to the Future, and every other time travel science fiction movie.
No time to waste, gang. Follow me.
This is Sirius Lee, the problematic time transplant.